I have a challenge for you. Get your pens and paper ready or your keyboards in just a moment. Several people, occasionally somebody will ask, why does AmRRON place so much emphasis on digital modes on HF? What's wrong with voice? Voice is simple. It doesn't require computers and software. It's just straightforward. It is what it is as voice. It's what we're all used to. And it works really great for tactical communications and your local VHF and UHF. But here's your challenge. I was scanning the bands and I was looking for a voice QSO, which is a two-way exchange over the radio, QSO or QSO as it's called. The typical, what we see on a regular daily basis or what we hear on the radio between stations that are talking in voice. So here's the challenge. I want you to make a transcript of this 20-second conversation without any errors and no cheating. You get one pass. You don't get to keep going back and go grab your headphones and play this over and over and over. And even then, I would be a challenge for anybody. But that's your challenge. Take a listen to this. Typical normal voice HF QSO, about 20 seconds of it. And I want a 100% accurate transcript of it.
This may be systems, but maybe not as good as just working out slowly for a long period of time. It's just something that is the key to turn something on in the body.
So the reason why we use digital modes is because they just simply work. I would challenge you to convey the front page of your local newspaper to somebody over the air in those kind of conditions without any errors. And you got one shot, maybe two, to pass it along. The time that it would take, the accuracy that is sacrificed is the reason why, because digital modes work when voice just simply doesn't. This, what you're seeing right now, is a AmRRON intelligence brief being passed in FLDigi, being sent in the mode Contestia 4250 and received. This is what it looks like. And this is what comes across your screen in a HF digital mode transmission. Somebody asked, then why so many modes? You guys started off with one mode and you keep changing. Well, we don't keep changing. We still use the mode that we experimented with at the very beginning. But why do we use so many different types of modes? It's so confusing. Well, it's the same reason why in your toolbox you have one of these, and you have one of these, and one of these, and one of those. Right? Different tools are in your toolbox because they do different things specifically very well. And then sometimes you get into very specialized tools, like some of you might be familiar with that. What's that? That is a PEX connector crimp tool. It only does one thing. It does it very well, and there's no other suitable substitute for putting PEX connectors on. Right? So you have very specialized tools as well that no other tool will do the way this will do. So that's why we have different tools in our toolbox. But sometimes there's one tool that is just your go-to all the time. Your multi-tool, right? That's what we're going to talk about first. We recommend a multi-tool, and the ham radio version of that is FLDigi, or more specifically, the FLDigi suite of software. Now, the same reason why you have a smartphone that you carry around with you instead of just a landline, because technology changes, it improves, it gives you more capabilities as technology changes. So AmRRON has always been innovative and tried to keep up with technology that would help us do our job better, more efficiently, more effectively, more accurately. And that has brought us to this journey where we have currently ended up with using the FLDigi suite and JS8 Call and the Vera mode. And I will talk about each of these briefly so you understand exactly what these are for, why we use them, the different purposes of those. And we'll talk about the FLDigi suite first, and that is a suite of software by Fastlight Digital. It's free software. This is very feature rich. This is your multi-tool. This is the very first piece of software that you should download and use. And if you only have one, this is it. Before you download and try to become familiar with anything else, this is the cornerstone of AmRRON digital mode operations for HF. There are dozens of modes within FLDigi, which can be found from the op mode drop-down menu. Of course, CW, that's Morse code. Contestia, we use Contestia 4250 for our initial contacts, for starting nets, and general keyboard-to-keyboard texting back and forth. This is the mode that we tested at the very beginning. And if you remember, in 2021, when Haiti had an uprising, the government shut down their internet and they began jamming the 40-meter band. And our stations in the Southeast could hear it very clearly and loud. So we used the opportunity to test Contestia 4250 by transmitting files back and forth and testing, and it plowed right through the jamming. It was not able to prevent Contestia 4250 from getting through. It is a very, very robust mode for exchanging communications, whether it's files or images. Then we use MFSK 32. And your net control station operator will switch your mode over. And if you have this RxID turned on where it's green, you turn that on and it will detect the mode that is being transmitted and automatically switch you to that mode that net control is transmitting on. You can also send and receive images using that MFSK mode that I was talking about. And here are just some examples of actual images that AmRRON operators have sent back and forth over the air during exercises or during holidays, and sometimes just for testing purposes. You can also receive weather fax images from satellite imagery from the NOAA, which regularly transmits on schedule, and those come in as images. So WeFax or weather fax is also one of the modes that you can choose from in that drop-down menu. It's a really, really versatile program. But besides just keyboard-to-keyboard texting and messaging and many, many other features I don't have time to get into, there are two companion programs in this suite that you will want to download also. Very important. FLMessage for sending forms. These are pre-formatted forms that are created and saved, and then you send that over the air. And our NCSs will typically send FLMessage traffic. All of our traffic primary mode should be sent using FLMessage, because then even if all you have is FLDigi, you can still receive that traffic and read it in plain text, even if it won't populate the form. But if you have FLMessage and the custom forms set up, which we have instructions for, then you'll be able to also populate those forms. But first, let's talk about FLMessage. FLMessage allows you to open up a pre-formatted form with fields that are designated for different purposes. In this case, This is a AmRRON situation report. So you have this custom form with fields that we've all chosen over the years. This is the kind of information that I want to try to get from my people out there. And actually, this is an older form. We now have version 5 forms out, but this just shows a form with a narrative box, block 17, where you can add more details and send a report of a situation. Then you save that form, and you can either transmit it in FL message or you can send it using FLAMP, where you have error correction capabilities. It's called FEC, forward error correction. This is very, very powerful, and all of these programs are in the video receiving digital HF, even if not a licensed ham. The software is all free. It's simple to set up. All of those details are in this video. Please go back and watch it. And it doesn't get into transmitting. It is simply just for receiving, which is the first step. And the first thing that you should do, if nothing else, even if you're not licensed, maybe you're a technician, you're not HF capable, you need to at least be able to get this news and information and intelligence that is being sent out by the AmRRON network. The next mode is JS8 Call. JS8 Call is a fantastic mode. How this came about several years ago when we were getting on the air and trying to find out who's on the air, you have to be sitting in front of your computer when you receive FLDigi traffic in order to reply or respond. So it's very common when somebody gets on the radio, they send out a text saying, hey, is anybody there? Can anybody copy me? Well, real world situation, people are not sitting there staring at their computer screen waiting for a message to come in. They're on patrol. They're feeding the chickens. They're splitting firewood. They're helping the neighbor. So you may not get an immediate response. And that was one of the difficult things for us, trying to find out who's out there, who's on the air, who do I have a good path with? Can somebody, let me know what kind of a signal I have? I have a piece of traffic to get from point A to point B. Is there anybody there? And then nobody responds. Well, there are actually many people out there, but you don't know it. This is a way to find out who's out there because you can do SNR reports. You can do many things with JS8 Call. It is a weak signal mode, which allows you to, in poor band conditions or low power, easily send an intelligible, complete, and accurate text, short text messages across HF. It is very similar in performance to CW or Morse code, where it's just 2 or 3, 4 or 5 watts. You can get halfway across the country and talk back and forth. This is beacon capable so that you can set a beacon, or what they call a heartbeat in this program, to be able to just put out your call sign every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. We recommend no more than, once an hour. But this lets other people build up a network on the sidebar of this program where they can see all of the different stations that they heard and a signal strength report, so you know how good of a path you have between each of these stations. One nice thing about this is you can receive multiple station signals simultaneously. On FLDigi, only one person can transmit at a time, otherwise it gets jumbled up and you stack up on top of each other and step on each other's signals, and you only can copy one station at a time. This allows you to receive several stations because they can transmit at different places on that waterfall there at the bottom, and everybody can transmit, and you will copy each of them without them interfering with each other. So that's a nice feature as well. You can send to the @AmRRON group, or you can send to individuals just by clicking on their call sign and sending them a message. You can also query a group or individual stations for your signal report. You're asking for them to report a signal report, or are there any messages for AmRRON, or are there any messages for me? You can query several pieces of information from a group or from an individual station. And the beauty of this is they don't have to be at their station for their radio and software to automatically reply to you if you have that setting turned on, where they can be out cutting firewood and they're responding to you automatically, saying what type of path that they have with you, or yes, I have a message, and then you can retrieve a message that they have sitting there waiting for you, because when they tried to send it 10 minutes ago, you weren't on the air yet. So you get on the air, you query for messages, the other station comes back, says affirmative, I've got a message for you, and then you can retrieve it. The other nice feature about this is that you can relay across other stations, including receiving an acknowledgement back that the other destination station received your message. This is very, very slow, but it's sure. And it is not adequate for sending any meaningful amount of traffic. You would not send a sit rep using this, because in FLDigi, you can send something in 4 or 5 minutes that would take 30 to 40 minutes in JS8 Call, tying up the band and using more power, your radio, transmitting and everything else. So this is very, very suitable for making very short transmissions, checking the band conditions, and relaying short messages across other stations. You can hop across a couple of others. And you can query, one of the queries is you can find out what stations does this station hear. So you see somebody, you're in, say, Utah, you see a station in Colorado. You need to get a message to Missouri. So you query this Colorado station, what stations do you hear? And his station will automatically reply to you all of the stations that he copies. And then you see on the list, oh, that's the guy I need to get a hold of. I'll relay across Colorado to get my message to Missouri, because Colorado is reporting that he can copy Missouri. We're going to get more into depth in these different modes and their capabilities in future videos coming up soon that will deal with each individual software program. But there is one companion program that works with JS8 Call that was developed for AmRRON by AmRRON. Whiskey 55 in particular is the developer of Comstat. You see all this raw data in JS8 Call can really pile up, and it's difficult to discern. Comstat parses out key pieces of information from JS8 Call and displays it on a dashboard and a map. So let's talk about that real quick. This is also free software. You can go to AmRRON.com and just type in Comstat. You will see a comprehensive JS8 Call and Comstat posting with a white paper and a PDF that you can follow along and step by step download and set up JS8 Call and Comstat. So what Comstat does, first of all, it maps out the locations of the different stations that are reporting, and it takes their map pin color and places that on the map. This allows you to visually very quickly identify hotspots, areas that are affected and impacted in different ways. You can click on the pin and identify the stat rep that is reporting that, and you can go to that stat rep and take a closer look at that stat rep to see more details. So let's move on to the dashboard here. Color-coded dashboard allows you to see the remarks that were included in the stat rep and a color-coded category chart so you can see what areas are experiencing no disruptions or partial disruptions or total disruptions in the various different categories. This is where you can also read more about these stat reps. You can reply to them, you can forward them, and so on. It also has a feature here where you can send a bulletin. This is a one-liner. You might want to put out, say, net control might want to say, hey, the net will be 15 minutes late. Stand by, something like that. Hey, we've gone to AmCon 2. More details to follow. Something very short, but you want everyone to see, and that goes up into the bulletin section there. There's a lot more to this. As I mentioned, there will be more videos to come, but one thing I really like about this is the scrolling marquee, where net control station operators and regional net coordinators can put up scrolling marquee information to let you know if the AmCon has changed or the net has been moved to another frequency or something else. And finally, I want to talk about Vera. This is one of the latest, greatest modes, and it is incredible. Prior to Vera coming out, the only way that you could get backdoor type of speed and performance was to buy a backdoor modem, which can run $1,700 to $1,900. Well, Vera comes out with a free version, which is slower, but they also have a paid version at $69, one-time cost for life, and you can put Vera modems on all of your laptops. There's no limit. This will give you backdoor 3 speeds for $69, and it is amazing. It will get through the worst of conditions. It is ARQ, so it goes back and forth comparing packets to guarantee 100% accuracy. And there are 2 programs that we use, which uses the Vera modem, that mode. We use VARM, but that's usually our top tier station operators that use that between each other for passing traffic, just because of some of the special features that are built into that. But Vera C, this is, or some people call it Verac, Vera C, but this uses the Vera mode, and this is definitely going to be the rising star for future communications, especially one-on-one between stations. So Vera C is free to download. It uses the Vera modem, and this has features allowing you to relay through other. Well, let's talk about that. It also has a dark mode, which I really appreciate, and this is what I use. It's much easier on the eyes. But let's get into some of those features that Vera C has. This is an ARQ mode, which provides forward error correction. Now, ARQ just means that your station locks up with another station. You do a handshake and connect, and then you pass your traffic back and forth. And in that process, it is confirming the accuracy of packets by sending a checksum, a hash, for every piece of the information and confirms it, and then sends the next piece. This is done automatically. You could be away from your station and somebody could connect to yours in Vera C, send you a message, 100% verified, correct, and accurate, and you come in later and there is a message sitting there or a file. So you can send files. You can send and receive what they call V-mails. These are messages. It's much like an email within this program. You can also beacon with this. That way others can see your signal and see your signal strength. And you can do signal strength queries. When you see another station there, you can query the path that you have between them, and it will let you know if you have a good path. This has so many features in it. It's impossible for me. I'm not even going to attempt to go into these. I'm just highlighting these programs for some of you that are saying, what modes does AmRRON use now? That's why I'm covering this. It also allows you to relay through other stations, and it will let you know if there is a message for you. So you can contact another station and retrieve a a VMail that's sitting there in draft waiting for you. It'll alert you that there's a VMail. So you can then, at your convenience, connect to that station and retrieve that VMail or a file. And another beautiful thing about Vera C is that it will prompt you to move off the calling frequency to do your exchange, whether it's VMail or whether it's sending a file. This is incredibly important because this, like some of our other modes, defaults at 1500 hertz on the waterfall. And if you have several stations with a lot of traffic to pass back and forth, two guys can tie up a frequency for a long time, and it's hard to coordinate with another different station to move off frequency so you can exchange your traffic. This will prompt you to move off that calling frequency. So those of you that have Vera C and are experimenting with it, we would ask, when you're prompted to move to another slot, these are in 750 hertz increments, please start off with 13, 14, or 15 slot. That will move your QSO off the waterfall from the main AmRRON calling frequency far enough that you'll be out of the way of interfering with other AmRRON activity going on the waterfall in FLDigi, other Vera activity, and JS8 Call activity. So slots 13, 14, or 15, please don't go down, or you'll move your traffic right into the FLDigi slot of the waterfall. So go up 13, 14, or slot 15. And as for beaconing or heart beating, just beacon when you first get up on the air to let others know that you were there, or when you change bands, or no more than once an hour. That's plenty sufficient for beaconing and heart beating and letting others know that you're there. And that's all I have for you guys. There's a lot more to come. I'll be really busy this week. We've got those individual setup and use on all those different digital mode software programs. But this is extremely efficient. And your first order of business will be to get that FLDigi suite. Don't download or set up anything else. Some guys have gotten all excited because they stumbled across JS8 Call. Here they are a year later with that pacifier in their mouth, and they have no capability of moving any meaningful amount of intelligence or traffic, because that's what FLDigi is for, and FLAMP and FL message. So start there. Don't do anything else until you get that. That is the cornerstone for receiving large amounts of information. Once you get that down, then you go into JS8 Call. And then if you're ambitious and you want to continue on, Vera or Vera C is absolutely the fastest and most efficient way of moving larger amounts of traffic very quickly between two stations. So back to FLDigi, the other reason why we use that is because you can send a large amount of information to an unlimited number of receiving stations all at the same time. One NCS can send out a situation report, and 100 or 1,000 people can all receive it at the exact same time. And so it's a beautiful way to put a lot of information out to a lot of people in one shot. And voice would just never hold up to that. All right, guys, stay safe, be blessed, and be vigilant. Get your comms up. This is John Jacob Schmidt, out.